The American Express Gold Card is one of the most popular credit cards, and if you're someone who spends a lot of money on restaurants or supermarkets, it's always been a card to consider. But unfortunately, there was a huge update to the AMEX Gold recently that made it much worse for a lot of people. I think it's time to consider whether it's even worth it anymore, and we'll look at 5 strong alternatives that might actually be better for your wallet, including options with no annual fee. First off, let's dive into the Gold Card and the changes, then we'll look at alternatives, but the big question is, does this card make sense anymore? So thankfully, the Gold Card still has its strong earning category of 4 points per dollar on restaurants and US supermarkets. However, the annual fee was increased from $250 to $325, which means now the card heavily relies on its credits to justify that fee, and there's also some bad news with the credits. Amex added some new credits to try and compensate for the higher fee, but unfortunately for most people, the new credits do not replace that value. The $10 monthly Uber Cash and $10 monthly dining credits still offer $240 in value per year, but Amex did switch the dining credit from Shake Shack to Five Guys, and that may be a downgrade for some people. And even with these 2 credits, there's still almost $100 of the annual fee left to cover. To try and offset this higher fee, Amex introduced a $7 monthly Dunkin' credit totaling $84 per year, and 2 $50 Resi credits totaling $100 per year. But the response from the credit card community to this change has been largely negative, with most people saying neither of these credits are relevant to them. For many cardholders, these specific perks turn the card into even more of a coupon book, making it harder to maximize the value unless you live near Dunkin' or dine at Resi restaurants. If you're one of the people who were already making good use of the credits and you also get value from the new credits, then you'll probably come out ahead with these new changes. But unfortunately, that seems to be the minority of people. One other unfortunate downgrade for high spenders at restaurants is that the 4X category now has a $50,000 annual cap on restaurant spending. I don't think these changes mean the card is no longer viable by any means, but it was definitely a downgrade. One good thing going for the Gold Card is that there's a limited time welcome offer on the bonus that gives you 20% back on purchases made at restaurants worldwide. I've seen welcome offers as high as 100,000 Amex points on top of this 20% back at restaurants after you meet the spend requirement. And the best way to find these kinds of elevated offers is to use the card match tool, which I will link to in the description below. On that note, if you want to apply for this or any other cards that I mentioned in this video, I would be grateful if you would apply using my affiliate links in the description below. Those links are a completely free way that you can support the channel, and thank you so much to all of you who do use my links. So what should you do if the Gold Card no longer makes sense for you? If you're one of the many people who the Gold Card is no longer viable for, the good news is that there are quite a few good alternatives to the Gold Card. And the first alternative is one of my favorite cards since it has no annual fee, and that is the Capital One Saver One. The Capital One Saver One is a good alternative to the Amex Gold since it has good earning categories for grocery and dining, and there's no annual fee or knowing credits you need to use to justify the card. The Saver One earns 3% back on dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and grocery stores. This has arguably a better cashback rate than the Gold Card since Amex membership reward points can only be redeemed at 0.6 cents per point for cashback. However, most people will redeem their points for higher value towards travel. And just like the Amex Gold, the points earned with the Saver One can be used flexibly for travel as long as you pair it with one of the Capital One Venture cards, like the Capital One Venture X. This card also has no foreign transaction fees like the Gold Card, so it works as a travel credit card.
The welcome bonus is pretty solid on the Saver, and you'll earn $250 after spending just $500 on purchases in the first 3 months.
So while the earning categories and the bonus are lower than the Gold Card, the Saver One is profitable from day one. And there's a lot of the same upside value since you can use your points flexibly towards travel, especially if you pair the Saver One with the Venture X, which is one of the best travel credit cards that you can get. Moving on to the next card, we have an option with a higher earning rate than the Gold Card, and that is the Citi Custom Cash. The Custom Cash earns 5% back on your top eligible spending category each billing cycle up to $500 spent. That means you could use this card exclusively for dining or groceries, and you'll earn more than the Amex Gold. And if that's not enough, some people have reported opening 2 or 3 Citi Custom Cash cards so that they could increase the points that they earn. But this usually requires product changing from another Citi card after you already hold a Custom Cash card. The Citi Custom Cash does come with a decent bonus of $200 in cash back after you spend $1,500 on purchases in the first 6 months of account opening. And if the Custom Cash is paired with a card like the Citi Strata Premier, then the points can be used flexibly for travel, just like with the Amex Gold. Moving on to another option, we have possibly the most popular travel credit card of all time, and that is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. This is an excellent card, and it even has an elevated welcome bonus happening right now. However, I will say the earning rate is lower than the Amex Gold, but I like the travel redemption options for your points even more than the Gold Card, and I think that makes up for the lower earning rate. The Sapphire Preferred earns 3x on dining, online grocery, and select streaming, 2x on travel, and 1x on everything else. The Sapphire Preferred has a very strong limited time welcome offer happening now of 60,000 Chase points after you spend $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months. On top of that, you will also get $300 in Chase travel credits in the first year of account opening. That bonus is worth a minimum of $900, but many people value Chase points at 2 cents per point for travel, which means the bonus could be worth around $1,500 in value. Chase has the best travel partners that you can transfer your points to, in my opinion, and my favorite to use is the World of Hyatt. Chase points cover all of the hotel stays when we travel with my family, including taxes and fees, and we've been able to earn Hyatt Globalist status using these points, which is pretty widely considered as the best hotel status to have. And that's all thanks to the points that we transfer from our Chase credit cards. The other nice thing about the Sapphire Preferred is that there's lots of great no annual fee Chase cards that you can pair it with, and you can combine points from the Freedom Flex or the Freedom Unlimited to increase your average earning rate. Moving on, another quick option for you is a card that I think is pretty underrated, and that is the US Bank Altitude Go. This card has no annual fee and it earns an unlimited 4% back on dining, takeout, and delivery, just like the Amex Gold Card. And it earns 2 points per dollar on grocery stores, gas stations, and EV charging stations, and streaming services. So this makes for a really strong alternative to the Gold Card for dining. But the drawback to the Altitude Go is that it only earns cashback, and unfortunately you can't transfer points to travel partners like you can with other cards on this list. But now looking at the last card on this list, this might just be the best option compared to the Gold Card, at least on paper. It has a lower annual fee, comparable earning rates, no foreign transaction fees, a similar welcome bonus, and the ability to transfer points to travel partners. The card is the Citi Strata Premier. The Strata Premier has just a $95 annual fee, and for that you get really impressive earning categories. It earns 3 points per dollar on restaurants, supermarkets, gas stations, and EV charging stations, and air travel and hotel purchases. So it has lower restaurant and supermarket earnings than the Gold, but gas and EV charging stations are usually a big category for people, plus the hotel earning category is better. It's hard to say which card is better for its earning rate because of course it depends on your situation, but I have to say the Strata Premier is a lot more well-rounded for a lower annual fee. The card also gives you access to transfer partners, although not as good as Amex's travel partners, but you can still get a value of around 1.8 cents per point when transferring points to these travel partners. The Strata Premier currently has an elevated welcome offer of 75,000 points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of account opening. That's worth around $750 in value. But if you transfer these points for travel instead, you could reasonably find around $1,300 in value. If you want to consider some more alternatives to the Amex Gold, there are some great travel credit cards that I covered in the past, and I will link to it here. Remember, I will have links in the description if you're interested in applying for any of these cards and supporting the channel. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.